Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to Amish Country Gardener. Today we are out here at the raspberry patch getting ready to revamp everything and get it all ready for this year's growing season. So come on, let's do it. Alright, so I'm getting started by removing the vine clips which I put on the raspberries from last year. Now, I would normally be wearing gloves for this, but this particular type of raspberry has smaller and less thorns than a lot of others. This variety is called Himbo Top and is actually a European variety. What I'm actually going to do here is remove the single wire and run two wires about 1.5 feet apart so I can make room for this year's growth. So here, I'm unfastening the wire from the metal T-posts, and I have to be careful when doing this because I don't want to break any of the raspberries in the process. The stems are pretty brittle this time of year. The Himbo Top raspberry is an ever-bearing raspberry, which means the plant will produce fruit on last year's growth as well as this current year's growth. These are called floricanes and primicanes. Once these floricanes that grew last year produce fruit, I'm going to cut them off at ground level so this year's primicanes can take their place. Now the ground is still frozen a little bit, and when using this old pulse tool digger, the arm snapped off. So I had to get another one that wasn't going to break. This one worked much better. Still took me a little bit of time to break through the top inch of ground. Now you see me doing this with just the end post, but I had to repeat this process 4 other times down the entire length of the trellis. I'm replacing the T-post with a 4x4 because I want to add arms to either side of the trellis. I also want to reuse the T-post for another location in the garden. You can use a cement footer, but I'm just backfilling with dirt. The trellis is only holding up raspberries, and I don't think there's going to be any issues. I drilled holes through either side of the arm to make a guide for the wire that I will pass through them. And on each end piece I attached a screw which I will wrap the wire around to keep tension on it. I measured up about 30 inches and made a reference mark to center the arm attachment on the 4x4 post. This was one of the more difficult parts of the build, holding the arm to the trellis with one hand and using the screw gun with the other. I put the screws diagonally from each other so that way the arms don't twist or rock while holding up the raspberries. It's important to make sure that these arms are tight. The wind can move things around if not held firmly in place. Here, I'm running the wire through the holes I drilled in the arms and wrapping it around the screw to lock it in place. The thing that's great about doing it this way is that it's easy to retighten if needed in the future. You just unwind it, pull it tight, and re-wrap it back around the screw. There's no need to make things complicated. I did the same thing for the other side. I had to use a little bit of strength to pull this left side tight. These guide wires are going to stop the raspberries from falling down in the wind. The last thing I had to do was reattach the raspberry canes to the new trellis wires. I'm excited to see the future results of this. When summer and fall comes, I'll show you the results and the fruit that we were able to harvest from it. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Help us out by giving us a like and click subscribe so you don't miss any content coming up this season.